Good evening, family. Thank you. Welcome back to Chats with Chas. I am joined tonight with the phenomenal LaTanya Davis, the founder of S.E.V.E.D.A. I said that right?
S.E.V.E.D.A.
S.E.V.E.D.A. My apologies. Um, this is probably most likely the last Chats with Chas for 2024, and it is going to be amazing. LaTanya, I want to thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank
How are
you.
you feeling?
I feel pretty good. Feel good.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. So, without any further ado, love, we're gonna jump into this story. So,
All right.
I want you to take a nice, good, deep breath because I'm taking you back to 1995. Uh,
All right.
and that's when young LaTanya Davis, you were how old then?
Ooh, I was about 17, 18. No. Not in 95. I was 21.
21 and a newlywed. Let's talk
Yes.
about that. Who'd you marry and how'd that go?
I married my high school sweetheart, and he was my best friend.
Mm.
And we married on May the 7th of 1995.
And you
And
guys had been together all through high school?
pretty much. We were best friends, and in 94 we decided to date.
Okay.
And I was scared to date because, when you move forward with a friend, you can't go back to just being friends. It's always some kind of conflict there when you try to go back. So
I hear you.
I just wanted to remain friends, but he wanted to take a step forward further. And I had feelings about him, but I just did not want to jump into a serious relationship with him. And I had even tried to set him up with other people. And they would come back and tell me, girl, what are you doing? This all he do is talk about you. So
Mm.
I ended up dating him, and it was, it was what every girl would could imagine for a
Like a fairy
relationship
tale?
at that time. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, so it was like the fairy tale that all girls imagine.
Oh, yes, very much so.
And did that last very long?
No,
What happened then?
we we married May the 7th of 1995, and my domestic abuse started May the 7th of 1995.
How did that start? Like, what was his form of abuse?
Um, it was physical, mental, emotional. Just
It was
whatever.
physical,
Yes.
mental, you said
Mm-hmm.
emotional.
Yes.
And how long
So
did that last? Yeah. Talk about it.
it lasted for 5 years. We married 95. We got divorced in 2000, but it lasted the entire 5 years pretty much. It was almost on a daily basis, but sometimes it would be physical, him putting his hands on me. Sometimes he would just degrade me, tell me that I was nothing. And, that's the main thing that people would, not, not only women are victims, men are victims too. So
Mm.
sometimes they'll tell you, don't nobody want you, I'm with you for this, or, you
Mm.
ain't gonna be nothing. And it messes with your self-esteem. So
100%.
that lasted for pretty much 5 years.
But within
And
those 5 years, you also gave birth to your children.
yes, my children were the only good thing that came out of their marriage. I stayed pregnant every year. We have four beautiful children, three girls and one boy. And we, and within 5 years, I had four kids: 96, 97, 99, and 2000.
Mhm. And now, So your kids were babies during this abuse,
Oh,
and you
yes.
managed to get out early, right? And so
Yes. Yes.
2000, you called it quits. Were there any ramifications of the physical abuse on your children?
Um, I would say domestic abuse, when a woman is pregnant,
Mm,
what she carries, the feelings that she carry, how she, what she goes through, the baby goes through it also.
100%.
So,
And so the abuse didn't end, like he didn't give you no break while you were pregnant. He was
oh no.
still
Mm-mm.
physically and emotionally, mentally abusing you
Yes.
throughout the
Yes.
pregnancy as well.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So then, yeah, there are definitely some ramifications on your babies. So in 2000, you get divorced, right? But
Yes.
did the abuse end there?
No. The stalking, um, it seemed like it got worse. And he would do pretty good for a day or two.
Hmm.
But after that, then it would start right back and it would be even worse.
Hmm. Worse in what
There
sense?
were times that, I'm sorry,
I said worse in what sense?
um, he would do even more. Like
Hmm.
he would take my keys to where I couldn't go anywhere and snatch the phone out the wall to where I couldn't call anybody for help. Or at one time he snatched me down my stairs from my back door to the concrete, and I was inside the house. He snatched me, grabbed me by my shirt collar, and snatched me down 4 stairs. I did not touch one stair. And back then, we call ourselves being cute when we wore the black stack heel shoes with the
Mm.
buckle on the side. When I hit the ground, my feet hit the ground, both of my ankles just went to the side and they popped.
Ooh.
And I went to the emergency room, and the nurse came in and she was asking me, she figured something was going on, but she asked me, "Are you okay?" And I told her yes, because he had his hand on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And
Controlling the whole time.
yeah, that's that control. But I told her yes, but inside I was dying. I was so afraid. And she asked him to step out. So
Mm.
when he stepped out, he kind of squeezed my shoulder a little bit, and I knew what that meant. So when he walked out, she asked me again, and I started crying. And I told her, I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm okay."
Mm.
I was still lying and taking up for him, but I knew the consequences that were coming behind it if I told the truth.
He will
I
come
didn't
for
know
you.
where to get help from, so I mean, I went along with it.
How did you find help? Like, how did it eventually stop? Did it eventually stop?
Um, I did speak with his mother one day, and I told her what he was doing. And at that time, I just wanted it to stop. I knew she was going to say something to him about it, about what I was telling her.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think twice because she was someone that I thought I could really trust.
Right.
And when I told her before we could get in the car and make it home good, he brought it up and she had told him. So he started the
He came
abuse
at you
right
even
then
harder.
and there. So, but later it did stop. I listened to my mom when she told me, when you rather see them going than coming, it's time.
It's time. I heard
Yeah.
that. When you rather see them going than coming, it's time. It's time to step
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
It's time to reclaim your life.
That's right.
And so what'd you do next? What was the process of reclaiming your life?
Well, he did come back by the house, and like I said, we had 4 beautiful children together. And when he came by, um, he came in the house. My friend and I were in the kitchen. I had cooked, and He came in and picked up, went straight for my phone. He was not living with me, but he
Mm-hmm.
went straight for my phone and he meshed *69, I think, to call the last number back. And a guy answered the phone.
Mm.
He took the phone and hit me over the head and broke it.
And what?
And he took the phone and hit me over my head and broke it.
Mm.
And the guy called 911, and my friend called my sister, called my brother, and he came down, and I pressed charges that day.
And was he locked up?
They locked him up, but by it being his first charge, his first offense,
He
they
was
didn't
out.
keep him long. But I think it was like 24 hours. He got out,
So like nothing,
and
not
he
even
came
a
right.
slap on the wrist.
No, came right back.
So this monster keep coming at you, despite all the efforts you made to get away from him. At what point does it stop? And what's made it stop?
He took his life.
Mm. So the only way out was for him to commit suicide.
That or either he take mine.
Wow. And where did he commit suicide?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, where did he commit the suicide?
At my house. He shot himself at my house, and he didn't die. I had sent my daughter into the room to get him because I was getting ready for work, and
Mm.
I was going to drop my kids off at daycare. And he came in, and he was this neat. I mean, he was just real neat, handsome, and very neat. And he came in that day, his shirt was pulled out, it was all wrinkled. And I'm like, what are you doing? I got to go to work. He said, I'm going to take the kids to daycare. I said, well, come on, let's go out together. So he said, I'll be right back. He went in my bedroom, and I sent my oldest daughter, Deja, in to get him. And by the time she went in there and she came back, by the time she got back to me, I heard poop.
So the
And
kids were in the house and they were how old at this time?
Deja was 6,
Oh,
Jada was 4, Aja was 3. She had just turned 3, and Jared was 1. He was
wow.
gonna be 2 in December.
Now, did the kids remember that? Did they remember that at all? Were they like,
Deja did. Jada, she didn't. She doesn't remember much of it at all. But she's kind of. She and I, we talk today. We talk about it often, and she's gradually putting bits and pieces together. She'll be like, "Now it's making sense. Now it's making sense."
mm.
So at that age, you're still young in your mind. You can't remember everything from a child,
And she might have just blocked it out, just
and
to
that's true.
sort
That's
of,
true.
her mind
Cope.
preserve herself. Yeah, self-preservation.
Hmm.
And
Yes,
this was in 2000. What year was that he committed the suicide?
that was 2002.
2002.
Yes, April 26th of 2002.
How did you manage that? How did you cope with the suicide of the love of your life, essentially?
Um, at first, I just imagined him being out of town.
Mm-hmm. The stories we create to deal with the loss or to
Yes,
avoid dealing with the loss, right?
yes.
How long
I
did that story last for you?
um, it lasted for about, I want to say about 8 years ago. I finally just got a hold of it and I dealt with it. And
How
I
did
still deal with it today.
how exactly did you deal with that? Because that's tough. Dealing with loss is one thing, but having to deal with the suicide in your home of the father of your children, your high school sweetheart, the one who was your fairy tale, right? And now
Hmm.
that's gone. So what were some of the things that got you through it?
My children,
Mm-hmm. I know that's
my
right.
children, those four babies, they needed me. And I could say that the part of me that they got was not the best part at the time, but I was there.
Oh, and
And
that's that mother's guilt, right? Like we want to do everything for our children, and if 100% is not in, it's like I'm not doing enough. But
that's
you
right.
did the best you could under them
Yeah.
circumstances. And I need
Thank
you
you.
to respect that, to know in your heart you gave your best. That was your best at the time.
It really was. It really was. And I did it for them because if it wasn't for them, I don't, I didn't feel like I had a reason to go on. I don't believe in suicide, but
Mm,
I did not feel like I had a reason to go on. So my kids, they kept me afloat.
your kids. Now
And
this was two, yeah. What was
the
that?
same, the same gun that he shot and killed himself with, he had it to my head.
Oh,
And little did I know that the safety was broken on it. But he had told me to call my kids in there and say my goodbyes.
oh wow.
And I did. I
In front of
did
the kids?
because I was laying in bed and he came in and got laid in the bed or laid across the bed and he put his hand up under the pillow
Mm,
and had it to my head. But I called my kids in and I told them, I said, I might go away for a little while, but just know that I love you.
mm.
And
See
my
now,
oldest daughter, she started crying.
and
And
she was
after
still a baby at that time.
she was 6,
My God. You see, now I could relate just a bit. I didn't have any children, but he was indeed my first. And he too threatened my life and pulled out a gun on me and, wanted to, and I could remember another time where we were driving, it was like New Year's, and he was like threatening to crash the car into a wall, right? And it's just like, what the
mhm,
hell do you do in that moment? You know what I mean? It's like, you just start thinking like this is it, and I can't even
yeah,
remember how I got out the situation. I kind of just managed to like calm him down and get him to kind of like take us back, and then I
yeah,
never stepped
yeah,
in that car again. But that to me is also a testament that you're here for a reason. So
exactly.
2002, you dealt with the loss, the suicide of your first husband. But then 2003, you get hit with yet another bomb. What happens in
Yeah.
2003?
2003, I was going down the road and I blacked out. I was
Mm,
taking my kids to their grandmother in a town about 10, 15 minutes away. And on my way back, I blacked out and almost ran up under a 18-wheeler truck.
wow.
And the following week, about a week later, the same thing happened, but I had one of my nieces in the car with me, and I told her I couldn't see. And
Hmm.
she guided me off the road, and she drove the rest of the way. And the next day, after that incident, she told one of my older sisters, and she made me a doctor's appointment. I went to the doctor. They did a CAT scan, and they found a brain tumor.
A brain tumor. Was it something small aside from the
It
occasional
was about the
blackout,
size. It was about the size of a walnut. They said
which is pretty significant considering it's in the brain, right? It's on your brain. And
yes,
were
yes.
there any other sort of symptoms besides the blackout that you were experiencing?
I was having headaches, migraines, and after losing him, I mean, even with him, I was going through depression.
Hmm.
So
So were you like dismissing the symptoms and just chalking them up to like, oh, this is just due to stress and depression, or were you kind of like
well, I didn't
aware?
even I wasn't even aware that I was having blackouts because I would get up to go to work
Mm,
and um, I would lose time. My job was on the line. My manager told me, he said, "Hey, LaTanya," he said, you got one more time to be late, and that's it. And the next day, I was late, and I
mm,
told him, I'm getting ready. I'm losing time somewhere." And when that happened, that's what it was. That's where how I was losing time. I had no idea. I thought my migraines was just migraines.
mm-hmm. And so now,
Cause this a sign. That's one of the symptoms of female
uh,
issues, monthly issues, headaches and cramps and stuff like that. Well,
mhm.
it was for me.
And so yeah, and so how quickly did they get you into surgery?
Oh, it was quick. I had the I had
You yeah,
surgery on May the 1st of 2003. We buried him May the 1st of 2002. I had the surgery May the 1st of 2003.
wow, so an exact year later after his burial, you were going
Mm,
in to fight for your life yet again.
yet again.
So after
Yes.
the so how okay, so clearly the surgery is a success. You're
Oh,
obviously
yes. Thank
with
God.
this. Um, but what was that recovery like?
The recovery. It was to me, it was extremely long. Um, I had to be away from my children, and I think that was pretty much the hardest part.
Away from them for how long?
Um, to From May to July,
Okay, so for a few months.
and it's, if you know me and my kids, we were inseparable. I did not let them go anywhere to spend the night, not even at my brother or my sister's house. So I just I wanted them with me all the time because I
Now,
felt like I could keep them safe.
was that from your upbringing that you always wanted them close, or is it because of the abuse you were subjected to by their father that you felt like you could not let them out your sight?
Well, I think it was a little bit of both
Mhm.
because I don't know if I told you, but I'm the youngest of 19 siblings, and that my parents, they were older. My mom, she was 45, getting ready to turn 46 when she had me. So I'm
Mm,
an old folk baby, as they say. But I think it was a little bit of both, being the protective parent and knowing what people
are
someone
capable.
could do to my kids.
Hmm.
So I
See,
think it's a little bit of both.
when you say I am the youngest of 19, does that mean that you also experienced some type of abuse within your family?
Does that mean what now?
Did you experience any abuse growing up within your family? That's a big family.
Um, I wouldn't say that it was within the family, but um, it was some abuse as a child from a neighbor.
Mm. Did you ever talk about that?
I did, and back then, it was just swept under the rug.
So
It
I hear
wasn't
you.
acknowledged.
I hear you. When you say that overprotective parenting, knowing how
Yeah.
innocent and vulnerable children are and the
Yes.
capabilities of predators that roam around the family or within the
Yeah.
vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, my heart goes out to you because you've been a survivor your whole life.
Oh yeah.
And so 2003, you're recovering from this brain surgery, now having to face the reality of like, I cannot parent my children the way I want to because I'm in this hospital recovering. So who helped you with your children while you were stuck in the hospital?
My sisters, and they ended up down there with his mom.
Mm,
My mom helped some, my sister helped some, but they ended up down there with his mom, and she kept them until I told my sister and them that I wanted my children home. And me going in and out of rehab for my recovery, I had to stay there from May to June, and in till the middle of June. And in the middle of June, they would let me go home just to visit for a couple of hours, and then I would have to go back. Well, after the couple of hours, it was kind of like a release program.
mm-hmm.
After a couple of hours, I got to go for like 5, 6, 8 hours, and then they let me go for a weekend. And when they let me go home for that weekend, I had my mind made up. I am not coming back. I'm about to break this camp. So after that weekend, I told the doctor, I'm not coming back.
I got this.
Yeah. What happened for me that weekend when I knew I had it is my sister who lived, it was 4 of us. Let's see. It was 5 of us that lived on the same street. And one of my sisters, which is the girl next to me, she's about 6, 7 years older than I am, but she was supposed to be staying with me and my kids that night,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't. She went home to check on her children. Well, while she was gone home to check on her children, I was combing hair, and I sent my youngest daughter in the kitchen to put something in the garbage. And when she came back in there and told me, I can't, it's thundering and lightning in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, thunder and lightning, it ain't even raining. So when I get up to go check, it was a pot of potpourri on the stove and it had caught fire. And I had to think quick. I mean, here I am, not about 2 months out, not even 2 months out from a brain surgery. And I'm having to think quick.
The
So
Grim
what did
Reaper
I do?
was out for you. Good Lord.
Oh yes, yes. But I grabbed the uh, hand towel and turned the water on, got the pot, put it in the sink, and picked up the phone and called my sister and told her, I don't need you to come back. I got it. I got it.
Mm,
And
mm.
ever since then, been moving forward. But my kids, they were my motivation.
But you also have long-term ramifications from that surgery, correct?
Yes.
What are
Yes.
those?
My words. Every now and then I get twisted with my words. My thoughts. Sometimes I can think stuff, but I just don't know how to put it into words. I was very smart, very good with math.
Mhm.
Math was my favorite subject. Math, well, I love school anyway, but math was my favorite subject, and I just couldn't calculate. So now what I do is go around and, you know, do math problems all day in my head, or I'll see a number and I'll break it down, or, just try and see if I still got it.
Mhm. Keep your brain going. Keep
Oh,
yourself
yes.
busy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And I do the Sudoku, I think I'm saying that right. The
Yeah.
number games and
Mhm.
just puzzles and stuff like that. But yes, speaking, I mean, that was a that became an issue for me because, and not, I won't say that it's only from the surgery. Self-esteem, domestic abuse, that
Mm.
is real, and it makes you have low self-esteem.
Do you feel like your self-esteem is still affected to this day?
Most definitely.
In what ways does it still show up for you?
um when I'm talking to somebody now, I'm good when I'm just one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a group of people, then I feel like everybody's looking at me and they're going to see some flaws within me because I was told years ago that I had all these flaws and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so, but I'm going to tell you, I joined the accountability class, the with Bobby.
Mm-hmm. The boot camp.
Yes.
Shout out to Bobby Smith. Okay, how'd the boot
And
camp help you?
it helped me, I mean, tremendously. I had that call with Bobby,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me, he said, sis, you're just gonna have to be, I want you to be the first one to raise your hand. You can do it, you can do it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But I did it, and after that, my hand will go up almost every time. Almost every time because and it kind of felt like a rush. But now I can get in front of people, but I still feel deep down within that they see the flaws that he saw. And that's not who I am.
Do you see those flaws in yourself?
Um, I don't, but by him
But his
telling me that,
voice still
it's
rings.
on replay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And say that, that's the thing. People can't measure the effects of mental abuse, right? So it's like if you don't bear a physical scar, they think you're fine. And it's all the assumptions people make just by seeing somebody walk into a room that they're entitled, that they feel so entitled to make. But they don't know the
Hmm.
internal battle you face on a daily basis. Wait, you muted again.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good now. So every day is a challenge for you. And it's
Yes.
just to drown out his voice, the effects, the aftermath of his abuse, and to still show up every day. But you don't just show up for yourself, you're showing up for an entire community now.
I show up for myself and others. I have 8 grandkids, 8 biological grandchildren.
Beautiful.
Um, it's a total of 16 with the combined, and 1 great grand.
Look at
So
this legacy you got going on, goddess. I know that's right. But, but
yes,
these beautiful beings did not come without tragedy.
no, no. Um,
So, so let's get into that.
um, on July the 19th, 2021, I lost my oldest daughter, Deja, who was my best friend
Mm.
and the first person that loved me unconditionally,
Mm.
flaws and all.
You didn't have
And
flaws in
the
her.
first person, no, no flaws in her eyesight. I was perfect, whatever perfect is. And we all know there's no such thing as perfect,
Mm.
but I was perfect to her, and she was perfect to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I lost her, I lost a huge part of myself. She left behind 3 beautiful babies.
But how did you lose her?
Um, she was stalked
Mm.
by a neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
and he took her life in front of her 2 older children.
And how old were they?
Um,
Mm.
4 and 3.
Yeah, Lord.
And the way he did it is and she would call the police,
Mm-hmm.
but they would come. And since he wasn't on the property, there was nothing that they could do.
So she wasn't able to get like a restraining order or anything
Well,
like that?
she got the restraining order, but He lived across the street.
Right. Like, yeah. And you never found out what his motive was for attacking your daughter?
No
Was he ever retained?
court for that.
You in court to this day?
We haven't gone to court. It's an ongoing trial. It's an ongoing case.
How does that weigh on you today?
It weighs heavily because they put it off. They'll send me a court date, and then they'll postpone it. And I will never be over the loss of my baby, my
I
friend,
mean,
my
how do
little
you,
sister.
how could you?
And it's hard for me to grieve because there's no closure.
Right.
And I have I see her babies. I see them hurt.
Hmm.
So it's like I don't have time to hurt because I'm having to make sure they're okay. See where their mind is. Let them talk about their mommy. And we talk about her openly.
Right.
We cry together, we laugh together, and we do our little therapy session. I mean, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a professional, not by far, but I allow them to speak freely about their mother
Beautiful.
just to release some of that pressure that's built up. And kids at their ages now, 8, 7, and 5,
Mm.
that's not the conversation that children should be talking about. My mommy was killed by, and that's their conversation. But they're loving on their mommy when they talk about her.
Well, do you tell them stories that you had with her growing up that they may not
Oh
have been able
yes,
to experience? So you keep her memory alive through
yes, most definitely.
yeah,
I am her voice. I am her voice.
that's right.
I am her voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Are those shirts available or is that just something exclusive that you own?
This was one that I had made, but I do have more.
I would love to support that, especially knowing that it's still an open case and that her voice needs
Okay.
to be heard, that, her life mattered. And so if
Yes.
there's any way that you could market that so that the world knows that there are people out here with, being her voice and
Thank
honoring
you.
her story. But how do you, I heard you say, I'm not allowed to feel pain. So how are you grieving your daughter's loss, the loss of your best friend?
I had a dream on July the 17th, and it was I was on TV and all kind of talk shows and stuff like that, and people were making a big deal about S.E.V.E.D.A, S.E.V.E.D.A, S.E.V.E.D.A. And that night, I read my Bible before I go to bed, and I have a notepad and pen beside my bed. And that night, I guess when I woke up Saturday morning on the 18th, I had written S.E.V.E.D.A. I guess I wrote it. I asked my husband if he had written it down, and he said no, it was my handwriting, but it was sloppy. But it spelled out S.E.V.E.D.A, S.E.V.E.D.A, supporting each victim encountering domestic abuse.
Mm.
And I was excited about it, but I just didn't know, what it meant. Where did it come from? Well, I did Sunday dinners for the family, and Deja and my next to the oldest, Jada, they came down. And I sat in the living room and talked to them about that. And they were both like, Mama, you got to do something with this. You got to do something with it. I said, I will, I am. And I felt terrible that day.
Mm-hmm.
But I made a promise to Deja. Deja really, really stayed on me and made me promise. She grabbed my face. Mama, promise me you will do something with this. I said, I will. She said, no, Mama, promise me you will do something with this. And I told her, I said, Deja, I promise. Well, the 19th, she was unalived, a day after I shared that dream with her.
The day after
Day,
she
the day after I shared that dream with her and Jada, she was taken away. And
passed the day after your dream.
the day after I shared the dream with
After
her.
you shared the dream, after you promised, I'm gonna do
Yeah,
something with this.
yeah.
Ooh. And what happened to her?
That's the one that was murdered outside in front of the house. The guy attacked her
Oh,
in
this
front of
is
her kids.
so you had the dream before
Yes,
she got attacked
yes,
and promised her because of your own story that you would do something like that. But then she would
yes,
then eventually, I don't know if they would consider that domestic violence, but the stalking part is still part of your story because her father stalked you.
yes. Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
So from there, I my counselor asked me. She said, "What do you do with all this anger and grief?" And
Mm-hmm.
I told her, I said, "I poured into S.E.V.E.D.A, the nonprofit. I
So
poured
you
into helping others.
so you started the nonprofit after that.
I did.
You started doing the necessary research and just pouring your energy into this project.
I looked into it, and S.E.V.E.D.A was created June 16th of 2023.
2023.
Yes. But
And
in the meantime,
that was how long after she had passed or that she was
that
taken?
was almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. But in the meantime, Deja passed July the 19th of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest daughter passed October the 1st of 2021, less than 3 months later
In the same year.
in the same year. And they say she passed from broken heart syndrome, grieving the loss of her sister.
I know that's real. I know that's real because my mother suffered a broken heart when
Yeah.
my father passed. And yeah, that was the first time I had ever heard of the broken hearts. I thought that was like, what do you mean? And so
I didn't know it was a thing.
how did you remain standing in 2021 to lose not one but two of your daughters
By
in
the grace of God,
such a short amount of time? My God.
only by the grace of God. And that daughter left behind a little boy.
Mm,
And when she had him back December 13th of 2016, she told me, she said, I had him for you. I'm
mm.
like, no, I ain't asked you to have me no baby. Cause I was just now a newlywed. I had just gotten married October the 15th of the
Of 20.
same year, of 2016.
Mhm.
So she had him December the 13th of 2016.
And you
And
was
when she
like, oh
told
no,
me,
child, I'm ready to live my best
no,
life right now.
Mama Stella just got her groove back.
I know that's
But
right.
when she passed, it dawned on me that she left someone behind for me to love
Mm,
in case she was not here.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I have custody of him. It's like raising his mama all over again, only in the male version.
So that's the little one who's attached to you now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
You his mama now.
Oh yeah. I
Mm.
was his mama when she was here because I would take him to her, and not even 30 minutes he would be like, Goody. They call me, all my grandkids call me Goody.
I
That
love that,
he
Goody.
would call and say, "Goody, I've been here too long. Come and get me." So
Isn't
I
it?
would head right back up the road to go get him.
Isn't it so it's so like I don't even know what's the right word. Like she knew. And it's almost like she
Yeah,
knew. Like I'm having him for you and it's for a reason.
yeah.
Whew.
The way all this has unraveled has been kind of scary for me
Mm-hmm.
because the Savita thing, you know how you be in situations and you be, Lord, if you get me out of this time, I promise you I'm gonna do such and such, and I ain't gonna never do this again.
Mm-hmm.
I did that with my relationship with my kid's father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I got out of it, I didn't hold to my word.
Mm.
I was so happy to be out of it to where I didn't even try and reach back to help anybody else because I didn't know how to get the help myself when I was going through it.
So do you feel in any way that this was some sort of punishment for you not
Um,
keeping your promise to God?
I did, and I had a powwow with him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get disrespectful. I didn't curse him out or nothing like that. But I just opened up one day when I was home alone and I told him what was on my mind. Of course, he already knew,
Right.
but I just released. And after I released, then I felt better. And Savita was so strong to where I had to do it. I had to. I couldn't let another person, male, female, go by and suffer domestic abuse or domestic violence and not know about Savita.
And not have a place to go for help, not have
Yeah,
some type of
not
support.
know where to look or, so I felt like I had to do that.
And Savita, you said was born in 23, correct?
Yes, June 16th, 2023.
But even before then, you suffered another blow
Yes.
ag-
Um,
at the hands of domestic violence.
yes. On March 27th of this year, 2024,
Mm.
my son was gunned down while he was at work.
Mm.
So I lost him, my baby, my only son.
Mhm. And they say a mother-son bond is quite different from a mother-daughter bond. Would you
It
attest
is.
to that?
It is most definitely. Not that he was my favorite, because I did not have a favorite. He
But the
he worked
bond
my nerves more
was
than he worked my nerves way more than them girls. Hold on just 1 second, please.
different. Woman is amazing, guys. Like so much she's had to endure, so much she's overcome, so much taken away from her, and she sits here devoted to her Savita, supporting each victim encountering domestic violence. Wow. I'm just like in awe of her. Whew. That's 3 of 4 children, if y'all tracking that. 3 of her 4 children are gone.
Okay, my apologies. My laptop was about to die.
You can't have that.
Oh no.
So you were getting into the
But
story of your son.
he was at work. He and this young, I won't even call her a young lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not one to talk about anybody or belittle because I know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So him and this female had dated, and he called it off.
Wait. Before you get into that, you were talking about y'all bond and how it was different, how he worked your nerves, right? But
He really did. He really did. And he knew that he could strike a nerve with me. I mean, how many people gonna text you one word and then expect a response?
hmm
He would text me, and I'd be like, "What is it? What?" And he wouldn't say anything else. Then he would call, "Ma." I'm like, "Boy, you in this one word. What is it? What?" And I just wish I could hear "Ma, Ma," or get that text message,
hmm
or you know, today it's
hmm
the things that we take for granted. But he was my son, my little man, my only son,
hmm
and my baby. He hated for me to call him my baby, but if I call my grandson that I have custody of my baby in front of him, he ain't your baby. So that's the type of bond we had.
And he was
But
also a ladies' man, right? Quite the
oh
charmer.
yes, yeah. He and the female, he called it off with her,
hmm
but I think they were still kind of like messing around or whatever. And he went to Florida, and she seen some other girl on his page or something. And when he got back, her and this other girl that he had supposedly fooled around with, they got together and made a video, posted it on Facebook, and said what they were gonna do, and they did it.
So they posted about gunning him down.
Yes, they had somebody. They said that they were gonna go get somebody to go come up to his job and unload, and they did.
LaTanya, what was your son's name?
Jared Bolden.
Because I don't think we've honored his name. Jared Bolden, rest in peace. Now, have these women been detained?
They were questioned, and they used them to get to the actual shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I went up there and told them where the actual shooter was myself.
You knew the shooter?
I didn't know him, but somebody had told me that they had seen
Where he
him.
was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So me and my daughter, we was going down the road after picking out the plots for their burial,
Hmm.
and I saw him. I said, "Jada, that's him. That's him." She said, "What do you want me to do?" And I promise you, if I had my gun on me that day,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't have had to go look for him.
Hmm. I
That's
know.
how much anger and stuff that was built up inside of me. That stuff weighs on you. But then what would that have solved? Because I would have left this little one right here behind.
Mm-hmm. And all your other grandbabies.
Yes. But that's just how I felt in that moment.
Of course.
That was my Jared was my baby.
Yes. Another
So
child of yours taken violently
that's
again.
3 children within less than 3 years.
Goddess, how did you manage? How did you get through all this loss?
Prayer,
Good God.
prayer, and pouring into S.E.V.E.D.A.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I pour into S.E.V.E.D.A all day, every day. Um, I couldn't go back to work, so my husband told me, he said, "You need to get S.E.V.E.D.A off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Work on it. It's needed." I'm like, "I have no income.
Mm.
Get S.E.V.E.D.A off the ground. It's gonna pay. It's gonna pay off. Get it off the ground. It's needed." And that's what I'm doing.
Let's talk a
Because
little
my
more about
children,
Sevita.
I used to work and they would come up to my job and sit up there with me and, just hang out. Jared worked up there with me uh, a little while for a couple of months.
This is
And
prior to Sevita.
yes,
You were working where?
I worked at UPS. I worked
Okay.
in the office.
And the kids will come up and hang out with you at times, and then even
Yes.
eventually Jared got a position there as well.
Hmm.
Plug them in.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, did you plug them in?
Oh yeah, most
Okay.
definitely.
So I know.
I had I had Jada up there. She was in the office in Hartsel, so I try. Hey, if I could get you in, I'm gonna get you in too. You want a job? I'm just playing.
Yeah.
I have to laugh sometime to keep from crying.
Listen here. Laughter is a powerful medicine, but so are
It
tears.
is. It's
So are tears.
cleansing for the soul.
Each one has a place. So if you gotta cry while laughing or cry into laughter, you take that medicine because Lord knows you have overcome so much, so much. You have endured so much. And so eventually UPS was a place that you could no longer bear
No.
because of so much
Mm-mm.
memories you had
Yes. So I turned my notice in October of this year.
of this year. Oh, this is super recent.
Yeah.
Savita
I
was,
lost him March 27th of this year.
mm-hmm,
And I resigned from my job October of this year.
mm-hmm. And so now you're
And the
full
thing,
time in Savita.
yes.
So let's talk about Savita. How's that working out? How's that going? Wait, before we get into Savita, you also received a reward not too long ago.
Yes.
What was that?
Black Girls Rock,
What's that?
NAACP. Black Girls Rock,
Say that one more
NAACP.
time, goddess.
Black Girls Rock,
I know that's right.
NAACP.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, Savita was birthed through your dreams. Your Savita was like a straight up download from the heavens straight to your heart into fruition. So please, let's get into that.
Okay. Savita, a name that I've always hated. I've always hated that name because that's my middle name.
Mm, mm,
My brother named me, and I feel like he named me after this young lady that he was in love with, and it didn't work out.
mm.
But he gave me the name, and I never liked it. But I love the cause that is helping people. But
That's just
as I
so
said,
so amazing to me though. Like not only did it come to you in a dream, not only is it something, it's an acronym for such an amazing and necessary cause, but it's actually your middle name. Like if God wasn't beating that into you, girl, like literally, like get this into manifest this into reality already. Right. And
it's like a
so
street.
so you did that. And so
I did.
Savita is here and it's still within its infancy. And as you guys will notice, there are ways for you to make monetary donations to the cause. So if you feel inclined, if you are touched at all by this story, please donate. Please help Savita continue to grow. It's only been
Yes.
here for a year and it's a super powerful and necessary cause. So please give us all the good details. Give us, some of the hardships you may have encountered, ways in which you're looking for more support that may not be monetary.
Well, the way that Savita was founded, and I'm just, I'm not computer savvy, not tech savvy. I have an iPhone, but I don't know how to use all the features on it. So I just know how to pick up the phone, call, and do a FaceTime. and
Okay.
scroll through Facebook. So I was telling my daughter Jada, I said, Jada, I'm ready to start Savita, but I don't know where to start. She said, I got you, mama. She said, let's do the name reservation. Let's do the name search so we can do the name reservation. And from there, she did the name search, and that was done on May 22nd, and it just flew from there. Um, June 23rd, June 16th of 2023, Savita was a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and we had our first event of July, not even a month later of 2023. It was a success. Uh, we helped, I think, 11 people last year. So,
Amazing.
and this year we've hit the ground running. Um, we've helped even more. We did even more events, and it's been amazing. And like I said, it's helping me get through my grief, cope with my grief, and it's a way that I love on my babies. I mean, even Asia, she had been exposed to domestic abuse, and I love on her through pouring into Savita,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm able to pour their love into someone else who actually needs it. We provide resources such as we provide we are in we're collaborated with counselors so we can get them into counseling. We have self-defense classes. We we're looking for a building. Can I get you to hold on just a second, please?
Anybody know any buildings out there in Alabama? Any resources, any connects out there in Alabama that can help this amazing cause, this amazing nonprofit? Let's band together. There's way too many of us in this community to not support this amazing nonprofit, this amazing woman who is completely dedicated and devoted to the cause. So yes, yes, I implore you all to please look and deep into your heart and see how in any way you can support. This woman is absolutely incredible. Yeah, I can't even to have suffered not only her own abuse, but then to lose three of her children so violently. Well, one from a broken heart, but the other two so violently. It's almost like domestic violence. Violence has been following her whole life. And to stand today so graciously, so lovingly, so compassionately is I'm in awe. So yes, let's get back into the amazingness that is Savita.
Um, where did I stop? Um, what was I saying?
Say you're looking for a building currently, you're working with
Yes,
counselors, supporting, also teaching them self-defense.
yes. My husband, who used to be a professional boxer, he's one of the coaches, one of the people that does the self defense classes.
Oh, I love
So,
that he is so involved in Savita as
oh
well.
yeah.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Shout out to the
Well,
husband.
he had yes, the hubby is bomb, honey. I
You
actually
know
dated
something?
him.
Yes, like yes, you've been through so much and you've got real love now. You want to touch a little
But
bit while you want to sing hubby some praises,
yes,
give him his flowers. Yeah.
I he and we were friends back in. He came here. He's not from here. He's from New York, but he came to Alabama in '94. He and we hung out before me and my kid's father
Did he know him?
actually. Yes, they had played basketball together.
Oh wow. Oh wow. So you've known him
And like I
a long
said,
time too.
hmm but he ended up marrying somebody else, and I ended up marrying my kid's father. And back in October of 2015, my mom had called me to take her to the emergency room, and I went to take her, and lo and behold, he was up there, had an oxygen mask on his face, being treated. He had a
Oh,
blood clot,
oh wow.
and I seen him peeping around, about to fall out the bed, trying to look, and
Oh, he
I
was
went and talked to
captivated,
him.
huh?
Oh yes. When I went in and talked to him, and I asked him where his wife was, and he was like, "I'm divorced." And I was like, "Okay."
When the stars align, sister.
And ever since then, the next day I checked on him, and we've been inseparable.
I love that.
He
What's your
told me, he
husband's
said,
name?
"Mario."
Mario. Shout out to Mario. Yes, love on this queen goddess. She is so worthy. You are so worthy.
He
And
does a good job of it.
you guys are such a force. And that is absolutely beautiful. It's nice to know that in all this hardship, there's still that like glimmer of
Yes.
love, that that happy, almost that happy ending, right? Like
Oh
you have
yes.
somebody to
This is
stand
this
with you
is
through your sorrow.
what I have with him is what I thought I had with
Mhm.
my kid's father.
This is a true fairy tale.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And now I see it, but I'm a believer in time.
Mm-hmm.
If
Absolutely.
if he and I had gotten together then, it wouldn't have worked. I can honestly say that it would not have worked because he's 8 years older than I am.
And you guys don't have any children together.
No, but you
But this,
can't tell Skeeter, our grandson, that he's not our son, not our baby.
I know that's right. See,
No.
I love love, because love truly mends all. It is the superpower in this world, and we are all capable of love, should we just choose it. And it is
Oh,
evident that through all your hardship, through all your heartache, you have chosen love.
yes, yes. Um, he and our birthdays are, his birthday is the 19th and mine is the 24th. So we're just close. It's like we were made or meant for each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he's my hubby, y'all. I mean, that's it. End of story.
I love that. Yes. So he supports the cause by teaching the self-defense. And then your daughter, is she the one who kind of gets the contracts? Because this a
Well,
family affair.
she's the marketing director.
Marketing, love that. Okay.
But now Mario, he back when he started the boxing gym here where we are, he was trying to do a battered women's program as well,
Mm,
but he didn't get that done.
okay.
So like I told him, now you can put into S.E.V.E.D.A what you were trying to do with your battered women's program
Mm-hmm.
and make it even better.
That's
But
beautiful.
S.E.V.E.D.A is a vision that was given to me by God in the form of a dream. And I have to say that I pray a lot about my decisions because I want to make sure that my that it continues to align with with how it's supposed to be ran. So
Divine,
I
is that what you're
yeah,
talking about?
yes, and like I said, I pray a lot all day, every day, pretty much, because I want to be led in the right direction to help the people. You know how you second guess yourself. One day I was going to work and it was ice outside on the ground. And I was like, Lord, I don't know if I can do S.E.V.E.D.A. I need you to send me a sign or send me something that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm,
And my job was like 8 minutes from the house. Perfect for me. I mean, and by the time I got there and slid into the parking spot, we had to back in. I got a phone call, and it was somebody from one of the local centers,
mm-hmm,
and they were trying to call in S.E.V.E.D.A. This is a major known, a well-known center
mm-hmm,
worldwide, and they were calling our organization for assistance with one of the clients that they were helping.
mm.
And I'm like, okay, God, I'm not going to question it no more. This is it. This is it. But did I question it again? Of course I
Oh,
did.
absolutely.
And the same thing happened. But I haven't questioned it anymore because I'm scared if I question it again, he's going to be like, well, now I done told you several times. Stop asking me the same thing over and over again. So I'm just going
I
to let it
think
ride
the
with
new
them.
question has to be, God, I'm being faced with an obstacle. Show me the way to overcome because I know this is my purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know this is
So,
what I'm meant to do.
and it is. It is. I feel um, relieved. I feel free. I feel good about helping others. I mean, I wish I had known about a program like this when I was going through. Um, we not only help the victims. I mean, we try, and if the abuser needs counseling, of course, and because sometimes the victims don't want to leave their
Right,
spouse or their, so let's get y'all some counseling. Now you can't come over here with her, but we
right.
can put you somewhere so you can get some assistance.
Yeah, that's actually pretty dope because those who victimize at some point in time may have been the victim, right? So it's like the victim at some
They're
point
right
became
there. It's
the perpetrator.
learned behavior. Most of the time, domestic abuse is learned behavior.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So like the victim becomes the perpetrator and then the cycle continues. So the fact that you even offer
Exactly.
counseling for the perpetrator is amazing because you're healing on both ends. It's like, okay, you've been
Yeah.
victimized, you're the perpetrator, you both require counseling and all kinds of resources. So that's phenomenal. That's amazing. And so us, I know you mentioned that you guys are looking for a building space. What is the building meant for? Like what's gonna happen there?
Well, we want to do a food pantry and just somewhere to um, have like the support group sessions, and and it's not for like the for us to work out of, but it's right now we offer support group sessions, but we're going from place to place,
Okay.
and that's for
Okay,
the
so you want to
safety.
have it centralized, like a home,
Yes,
like a headquarter.
yes.
So aside from the
And
building,
then we're looking for safe houses.
okay, and those can be anywhere, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Have
Yes,
you guys made any connections with any other centers for domestic violence?
yes,
Okay. Because it's also to my understanding that you don't or you have not only helped victims in Alabama, but even out of state as well.
yes, ma'am. Um, we've helped somebody in Texas. A young lady reached out to me at like 2 in the morning, and she needed help with a safe house.
And
And when
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, no, I said go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, she reached out. She was in Texas, and I called around as soon as the place is opened, and I'm with my connections, and I found her a safe house to
Mm,
go to. I gave her the number to call and told her what she needed to tell them, and she called and she got in. I went to New York back in June, beginning of July, and we helped another young lady up there. So wherever I go, if I'm needed for S.E.V.E.D.A, because I am S.E.V.E.D.A.
I was just, you are,
Not that
that's, I know that's right.
I am,
But you also assist
and I I assisted that young lady with uh,
but do you also
while
offer
I'm
help to men?
yes.
Because
We
earlier,
have a young guy that does. He used to run a program in a little city close to where I am. So he reaches out. He's good at it too. He's great at it. So he assists the young men.
that's beautiful because
And
every victim.
my husband and we have two male board members. They do the mentoring on for the like one of the clients that we helped. She had all boys, and
Mm,
their ages was from 6 to 15, I think. So they would take them and let them do the boxing and get them haircuts, and we pay for the haircuts and stuff like that, school supplies, and if they need clothes, we give them clothes because we have a Savita's closet. We have the S.E.V.E.D.A bags for the females when they have,
like toiletry, feminine
their time of
products.
the month.
Hmm.
Yes, and we, if somebody needs a down payment or a deposit for moving, rental fee or something like that, utilities, we'll pay that, and we
Amazing.
do like a love bag with laundry detergent and dish detergent, whatever they need to go into their new place. We give that as well. Sheets
So,
and stuff like that.
so do you guys accept like clothing donations as well and like gift
Oh
cards?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They're welcome. This year for Thanksgiving, we fed one family of four. For Christmas, we're going to feed two families that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, what we do, it comes out of our pockets. We don't. We're not to the point to where we're filling out for grants, but a lot of the grants require 2 to 3 years of documents to where they can see where you spent the funds. So by us only being functioning for 1 year, then it's going to be kind of hard.
It's
So
tough, right?
whatever we do is out of our pockets.
So you rely heavily on like fundraising and donations currently at the time.
Yes, yes, and believe me, we get some good donations. We get some good donations. So
So I want to thank you for your time, but I also want to know, do you have any parting words, any last words for the people? Any extra visions you want to share
um,
with about S.E.V.E.D.A or where you see this going to?
I don't know. One day you may see S.E.V.E.D.A in your state, your town, because we want to go worldwide. We want to help whoever that needs the help because we're here to support each victim encountering domestic abuse. And just know I am a person that overcame each obstacle that was thrown my way. And I don't think I could do it without the scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Amen. Do you include scripture in any of S.E.V.E.D.A's work?
I do. That scripture right there is on our website. That one right there, it has gotten me through so much to where I've taught it to my grandson. because that's something. I mean, there's nothing. I don't feel like there's anything that I can't do with Christ who strengthens me.
I know that's right. Amen,
I
sister.
feel like I have a cape. I mean, I do. I really do. I feel like I have a cape on when I recite that scripture.
You
It
really
gives
are.
me that just that extra.
You really are Wonder Woman, Superwoman. You are Savita. Like, and you wear that cape
I
well.
am severe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, LaTanya, for sharing your story and your mission and sharing parts of your children with us. My heart is so with you. And I definitely want to support with that shirt. I am her voice. We want
Yes.
justice. You want justice. You deserve justice and closure.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I want to stand
She
arm
does
in arm
in
with
her.
you, Rita, for sure. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, y'all. See you guys next year. Good night.